Updating our breaking news out of Portsmouth. Police are investigating what they're calling a suspicious shooting on Dunedin Road, not far from Portsmouth Boulevard and City Park Avenue. Around 4:15 this afternoon, officers found two men with gunshot wounds. Police say this is an active investigation. You're looking at video from the scene. We will have updates online and on 13newsnow.com.
And we begin now with the battle over the 2nd Congressional District race.
Independent Sean Brown will not be on the ballot. A judge made that ruling today in Richmond.
Virginia Democrats sued to get Brown removed because of questions about the signatures on petitions to get her into the race. 13
News Now reporter Stephen Graves shows us what this means for the election.
It was a quick decision for this judge. Before he gave his ruling, he said that there were clear instances of forgery.
He's looking down going, thank you, now we got it right.
An emotional reaction from Elizabeth Cake outside a Richmond courthouse. With her late husband's ring around her neck, she says he got justice.
He would have not been happy at all for his name to be used without his permission.
He was one of many names Democrats claim was falsified on petitions to get independent candidate for Congress Sean Brown on the ballot. Democratic Party lawyer Jeffrey Bright says it was a calculated effort by Republican Congressman Scott Taylor's office. Today, a judge said Brown's name will no longer be on the ballot.
Taylor put her on there for one reason: to steal votes from the Democratic candidate Elaine Luria.
We had no part whatsoever in working with Congressman Taylor.
But at least 5 workers associated with his campaign who were subpoenaed did not testify in court, pleading the Fifth Amendment. A representative in Taylor's office responded saying, quote, given that the Democratic lawsuit was purely political and has now successfully excluded Sean Brown, it's understandable that individuals would exercise their right not to testify today. Our campaign will continue to cooperate with the investigation and make no further comment while it's ongoing. But overall, in the bigger picture, Bright says this case sets a precedent for elections to come.
And hopefully the signal from the judge's opinion today is we are better than that. And if you come into court and you commit a fraud, someone's going to call you out on it, and obviously this case is going to go on.
And Brown does say she will appeal this decision. She says that she will not be bullied, calling this a political power play. Reporting in Richmond, Stephen Graves, 13 News Now.
The controversy surrounding the signatures began June 9th. Dates on the petition to get Brown on the ballot show that's when several of the questionable signatures were collected by a Taylor staffer. 2 months later in August, questions about the signatures surfaced. The same month, the special prosecutor launched an investigation. And the Democratic Party of Virginia stepped in, sending a letter asking Virginia's Attorney General to get Brown removed from the ballot. They also asked a judge to invalidate all of Brown's petitions. Today, the judge ruled to take Brown off the ballot. And this situation clearly is not over. There is the special prosecutor's investigation into whether criminal charges are appropriate here. Count on 13 News Now for continuing coverage of this election.
The Atlantic hurricane season is roaring to life with several storms forming right now.
This is video from what Tropical Storm Gordon looked like as it battered the Gulf Coast overnight. And looking at the tropical satellite, we're watching a hurricane and some potential other areas of development.
Chief Meteorologist Jeff Lawson joins us now with the latest on the hurricane season.
Yeah, this is the Cape Verde season, or Cabo Verde. They wanted to ask to be renamed, so it hasn't made it on all of the maps yet. But that is now the Cabo Verde Islands instead of Cape Verde Islands. Storms that come off one after the other this time of year often are some of the stronger ones as they traverse the Atlantic. Hence, this time of year is when we really start paying attention. That very compact but very, very powerful storm in the middle of the Atlantic, now a Category 4, was not supposed to be a Category 4. All the input that we had, cooler water in front of the potential track, drier air in front of the potential track, indicated it was supposed to hold steady, if anything. Instead, explosive development. So that's just another example of how these things are very, very difficult to forecast. And that's just the intensity, let alone the track. So here's the track, what we expect over the next 5 days. After that, it literally could go anywhere. There's a lot that we need to look at. One thing we do like to look at is take all storms literally in 150 years and see if they were within a couple hundred miles of where this one is. Where do they tend to go? Well, you can see they're all over the place. But the important thing to notice is there have hardly been any that have ever hit here in Hampton Roads. A couple have stayed offshore. Only one has affected us. This one right there. Believe it or not, that's Isabel. You say, whoa, whoa, are you saying another Isabel? Absolutely not. But what I am saying is that statistics show that it would likely not do that. However, there are a few differences. Isabel, the forecast stayed very consistent for a week ahead of time because the upper pattern with Isabel never varied. We knew a week ahead of time within a couple hundred miles where it was going. Nothing ever varied. The upper pattern with Florence keeps changing. That's why there's a difference. So could it do that? Yes. Is it unlikely in history to follow that path? Yes. We'll just have to watch it over the next week. I'll have a lot more coming up.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Now, the uptick in activity in the Atlantic is a good reminder that now is the time to prepare for the season. Log on to 13newsnow.com and check out the Hurricane Center. You can check your evacuation zones and get a storm prep checklist.
The concern about storms highlights another local concern, and that is flooding. We saw the high water in places like Pungo during the rainy summer. And this morning, Virginia Beach held a symposium to discuss ways to protect yourself and your property from floods. Councilwoman Barbara Henley says she knows flooding is a major issue in Virginia Beach. Today, dozens of people learned more about what they can do to protect their homes. Henley says rain barrels, plants, and plenty of trees are part of the plan.
A bald cypress is an extremely good tree. It'll live for hundreds of years, and the beauty of that is as the ground gets wetter, it continues to thrive.
Henley says a study will be released later this year that gives more recommendations on how to adapt to sea level rise.
New information in a Newport News homicide investigation. The suspect in the murder of a 20-year-old woman is telling his side of the story. 20-year-old Breonna Patterson was killed in Newport News last week on Mytilene Drive. Police arrested Marquise Parker for the murder, but he tells 13 News Now reporter Nico Clemens police have the wrong person.
Marquise, you're saying you did not shoot and kill Breonna?
I did. I swear I did. I wasn't even there. I can't tell y'all nothing. That's why y'all looking like what y'all looking like, because I don't know.
Less than a week after what Newport News police call a brutal murder, officers arrest Marquise Parks. Parks charged in the murder of a young mother, 20-year-old Breonna Patterson.
The main thing for me was to get this violent individual off the streets of Newport News.
Parks spoke to the media Wednesday afternoon, claiming his innocence.
This time, honestly, I really ain't do nothing.
Police say they found Patterson shot to death on her bedroom floor at City Line Apartments last Wednesday. According to court documents, a witness says Parks had an argument with Patterson the morning of August 29th. During the argument, Parks started shooting in Patterson's direction while she was on the floor.
I never argued with this girl.
Parks says he knew Patterson.
I feel sorry for what happened to her. I wish it never happened. Can't really say nothing because she was a good girl. She was cool, man. All of them was cool, man.
Newport News Police Chief Steve Drew also addressing the media Wednesday. He thanked the officers, detectives, and neighbors who gave police information.
My heart goes out to the family members of the victim from Wednesday morning. When citizens get involved and we use the resources that this police department has, good things happen.
Parks now charged with first-degree murder.
Be for real, man. It's a girl, man. I'm killing no girl, man.
And Parks is a convicted felon. His court date is set for next Wednesday, the 12th, right here in Newport News. I'm in Newport News. Nico Clemens, 13 News Now.